It is the Saturday Coffee Klatch. I'm Heather Lofthouse. I'm here with
Michael Lahanis Calderon.
There he is. And we are not here with Robert Reich. He is traveling, but stick with us.
Yes.
Heather, what are we going to talk about today?
Heather, wait, no, hold on. Aren't I supposed to ask that?
Okay, go.
No, Heather, what are we going to talk about today?
So we are going to talk about Minneapolis standing up and what
Yes.
what they did yesterday and what we can learn from it. Trump and Greenland, the Davos disaster, and then things under the radar we might have missed because there's so much mayhem at the top.
Really? I don't know. I feel like I caught everything that happened this week without fail.
It's too much. So Bob is traveling. So let's talk about Minneapolis.
Yeah.
So general strike yesterday,
Yes.
which is a big deal for
Yeah.
many reasons. One, it's a big deal because people are showing up and there is a fervor behind it, but also for all these different sectors to come together.
Yeah.
So we have faith-based groups, we have nonprofits, we have for-profits, we have government, we have
And just people in their own neighborhoods who saw what was happening outside and decided to band together. It's amazing to watch. And in extremely cold weather. I mean, we're here in Berkeley where it's a balmy, perfect temperature most of the time.
62
and it's
or
what,
something.
negative 30 degrees with the wind chill?
yeah.
I mean, wind chill is something that when I moved to California, I learned most Californians don't know about.
No.
But it's serious business in the Midwest. And when I saw all of these images of people out, particularly at like the Minneapolis airport, that was one that I saw, hundreds of people lining the departure terminal in, bundled up, but with signs. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's so important. And I think I actually spoke with this fabulous activist educator, Nadine Block, and she runs Freedom Trainers, freedomtraders.net. And she was saying, Heather, this is a rehearsal. This is a test. We have not had this kind of strike across sectors in America. This is a microcosm, and we're seeing what will it mean to do something on a bigger scale. And I do think the Trump administration is paying attention.
Yeah.
I mean, whether they won't admit it, they'll, dub it far left shenanigans, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But this is important. This is impressive, and this is a strategic moment of huge significance.
Yes. And I can't even remember, certainly within my lifetime.
Oh, here we go already with the age.
I know. Well, I mean, if
age
Bob were
jokes.
here, I'm sure he'd be the person to ask. The last time anything even remotely called a general strike probably happened even before he was born, right? I mean, I may be wrong there, but we'll have to ask him when he comes back next week.
And you all are 50 years apart.
Yes, and you are.
I think we're 80 to 50.
Well, that's
30
impolite
years.
for me to ask. I
No,
apologize.
you ask. 30 years apart. And then he did that great Substack of hundreds of them this week. Thank him for doing that. I tell him, take a break. Don't you want to take a break? And he's like, no, this keeps me going. And the community on Substack. But he did a great one on a general strike and what it would take. And also, what can people do right now?
Yeah.
And this kind of non-cooperation, right, on an economic front is one thing in our toolkit of what we can do. Peaceful protests, but also the ties to economics. It's important to say we are trying to disrupt a system to make a point. Peacefully, in a coordinated fashion. But this has been on his list, and he had so many other good things like, show up for a neighbor and sign up to deliver food for people.
Yeah.
Go to an animal rescue. Just be part of your community and don't give in to cynicism, keep showing up. And you can do specific things, join ICE watch lists, or you can do these things in your community, which are about community. This rugged individual sense that we have had in America and that, is so American, we got to get back to community. We just had Martin Luther King Jr.'s,
earlier this
birthday, right? This is about coming together as a community, and that's what's been happening in Minnesota, and that's what we need to continue to do.
Yeah. And it was really inspiring to see how many faith leaders came out as well. I don't know if any of you saw this, but I think it was hundreds of faith leaders were out just marching and, joining sort of these neighborhood watches, essentially, in their full regalia as well. And, this is not unusual for Minnesota, but I think a lot of these people came from all over the country. Some of our colleagues were telling us, Lutheran churches historically have been among the most important organizations for refugee resettlement in the United States. Minnesota's had a labor organizing movement since before it was formally a state. The list goes on. So this is not unusual for Minnesota, but it is unusual for the country, I think, given how well, I don't know. I mean, I feel that I haven't seen this many people coming together on a grassroots level outside of No King's Day protests, at least
Right.
on this scale. So it's
Right. And of course, this is happening in a city and with George Floyd Plaza.
Yeah.
Right. So people came out to fight his murder. Right. But it's wild to watch in the same city, it now coming together. And then, of course, we have ICE. I mean, we can talk about the budgets that have passed and the appropriations and what's happening on that front. But we watch ICE moving into Maine now.
Yeah, what did they call it? It was like Operation Catch of the Day. Yeah, they
That
really.
phrasing.
I think that the Department of Homeland Security is full of a number of people who are very interested in branding and social media and capturing content.
Did you
more
see
than-
that AI adjusted image that they did?
Yeah, I think that's also worth mentioning. And
Yeah.
this is especially, I mean, I remember last week you guys were talking about, or 2 weeks ago with Kamau Bell, about all of the AI impersonators of Bob. I mean, this is something that is part and parcel of just being on the internet these days, but I believe it was the White House. It was the official White House account manipulated an image of a protester being arrested to make it look like she was upset and crying.
Right.
And when they asked for a comment, did you hear what they said back? Said the memes will continue.
No, Michael.
Yeah, I mean that just the kinds of staffers that are running these accounts and I guess running the press
But what's
offices
wild
are
is
just
Kristi Noem's team put it out as it was.
Yeah.
And this woman, was standing and had lipstick on and was like, I've just been arrested, and she's a lawyer, and I forget her name, and she was like, here I am. And then they made it where she looked like she was sad and crying, and they made her darker, and it's
Yeah. I mean, the
It's-
online right feeds on this stuff.
Right.
I mean, as the digital native representative on the podcast, I think I unfortunately also spend a lot of time on X for this job, and I see the kinds of stuff that goes super viral all the time, and it often is, they get this pleasure almost from like leftist arrested, leftist thrown to the ground, protester, sad and devastated, and it's disgusting, obviously, and
it's lies.
and it's been normalized.
Yeah.
I mean, I think even 10 years ago, which is crazy to think about, 10 years ago, Trump was just beginning his sort of political ambitions, or I guess I should say in the
mean,
midst of the primary
right,
by this
exactly.
stage.
Don't you think he
it would've been
always had
shocking.
those ambitions? I mean, come
Oh,
on.
yeah. I mean, I think he flirted with running in 2000 or something as well, but, he's here now. But there was something else I wanted to get to, which I don't know that everybody saw. This was there was some great reporting on an ICE memo, a rather secretive ICE memo, which essentially outlined that they have been directing their officers to enter homes without a judge's warrant.
Yeah.
But this memo was distributed in a way that, I mean, it was distributed verbally, orally in many cases. And
It was like, read this and pass it on.
yeah, exactly. And you can't have a copy of it. You can't share it. So there was a whistleblower leak this week. And I mean, I wish that we had the pocket constitution handy. I know Bob would have
Bob
his.
would have it.
So next week he'll pull it out. But I mean, we're talking about the Fourth Amendment, right? Unreasonable search and seizure. And I think that there's been this attempt to make a distinction or rather to conflate administrative law judges' warrants and judges' warrants, from somebody who's sitting on the bench who's been appointed or, otherwise is a judge in a
Right.
formal sense, a part of the judiciary. And they're using that confusion to just basically excuse all of the abuses. And I don't know, I think it's pretty significant. And I think that people in Minneapolis thought it was significant too. One of the signs I saw that businesses were putting up is, this is a Fourth Amendment establishment, which you don't see that very
Right.
often, do you?
Citing the amendments.
And we will not let in, federal agents, we will not let you in unless you have a warrant signed by a judge.
But importantly, that memo goes against the DHS policy, which says it's unconstitutional to go in without a warrant and no cause.
Yeah, to people's homes.
And then you had in Minneapolis that poor 5-year-old kiddo
Oh my God, yeah.
who they took and they used as bait, and they said, go knock on the door and see who else is in the house. Took him out of the car.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And that's not, I feel.
That's not a warrant. That's a child.
Yeah. And I've seen, and this is just the state of the internet now, right? I feel like I've seen several videos like that where children are being detained in some way or another. There was one, I'd have to see if our editor can find it.
Naomi.
Naomi, thank you. Where it was a child, and maybe this was that specific case, being held outside the home, and there was this federal agent just saying, hey, if you want the kid to come back in, come out and show me your papers or show me your ID. Just show me your ID, over and almost taunting. And I don't know.
We don't even know where that child and his father are. We think they're
Yeah.
in Texas, according to the lawyers, but God, it's so horrific. Okay, so bravo, Minneapolis, standing up. Michael, this is so fun being here with you. Can we do a toast?
Well,
Look at your face.
I think I wish it were under better circumstances, but
No, but at least we have coffee together every week.
That's
Usually
true.
Robert Reich. I mean, you're often in the seat over there
That's true.
spinning the ones
Well,
and
today I
twos.
actually have tea, so don't tell anyone.
Okay, I won't tell anyone. I have coffee, but it was instant because I was out of my regular.
Sometimes he has sparkling water as well, so just keep
Bob
that
likes
on the down low
sparkling
between
water.
us,
He
and
likes
don't tell him that we
sparkling
told
water
you
and lemonade.
next week.
A combo. But you like instant coffee. You've given me instant coffee.
I do. My mom is from Colombia, so she'll often send me lots of delicious Juan Valdez instant coffee, which is the best instant coffee.
And we have it in our kitchen. Okay, can we talk a little bit about? I do want to get back to your mom,
please.
actually. I'm not going to delve into my mom in this episode, but we can do it in another
That'll be
one.
next week
Yeah,
with
I
Bob.
want Bob back.
Yeah.
He's such a psychologist for me. Okay, so Trump in Greenland. This has been, I mean, his blustering and his bloviating and his nastiness, and then watch all of Europe stand up and say, not on our watch.
Yeah.
And Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, gets up at Davos, right,
Mm-hmm.
at the World Economic Forum, gives this amazing speech.
The system's power comes not from its truth, but from everyone's willingness to perform as if it were true. And its fragility comes from the same source.
Apparently, he wrote it himself.
Yeah, no staffers on that one.
No staffers. And Bob put it up on his Substack, and he just said, we are going to stick together. And the powerful have their power, but we have things too. We have each other, and we have standing up together. And it was an incredible speech. Got a standing ovation. It did not mention the word Trump.
Didn't have to.
Didn't have to. So then Greenland.
Yeah.
And I'm helping Europe, I'm helping NATO, and I've until the last few days when I told them about Iceland, they loved me. They called me daddy, right, last time.
Now, is he backing down? Do we consider this a back down?
I think like so many Trump blowups, he's going to try and get more than he actually wants. That's what I think the discourse on the internet was saying. Oh, this is very typical Trump. This is negotiating style. Have you read The Art of the Deal? Which is just a ridiculous, I think, argument to make when you're
Right.
talking about the president of the United States threatening to annex the territory of an ally. And so, yes, effectively he did back down. So as I understand it, we've had an agreement with Denmark for many decades. It was signed in the 50s. And it's been updated from time to time.
And they've been an exceptional ally
and
as
they've
it
been
relates
a very faithful
to
and exceptional
war.
ally. And the new agreement doesn't seem to change anything. I mean, the U.S. has always had the ability to place bases there at pretty much however we want, wherever we want, effectively. And there was some discussion that maybe there would be pockets of sovereignty given to the U.S., and that was something that the NATO secretary said.
Mm-hmm.
But then Denmark came back and was like, no, that's not happening. So then he got nothing. Nothing. A whole week and a half of the entire world on edge, and NATO almost, crumbling, and, all of these attacks on an ally and anger. I mean, I was in the UK last week for a family thing, and everybody there was furious. They're like, how on earth could he be doing this? I mean, we know who he is now, but it being so direct and feeling so real. I think that's the other thing. A lot of the Republicans will say, oh, he was just joking, or he was just, bloviating,
Trump
right?
being Trump.
But it has a real and serious psychological impact, and obviously material impact, in terms of nobody will trust us again.
Well, that's it. That's what I was just going to ask. There is damage done.
Yeah.
I mean, now he's going back, but I mean, these heads of state, these diplomats are appalled at us. And I think really having to reconsider how many years of
80 years.
Right.
About the lifetime of one Robert Reich.
Yeah.
Which, I think that's significant. This is a world order that's lasted one lifetime, which in the grand scheme of human history is not very long. And it's not unusual, I think, for these kinds of agreements to unravel with time. But this is a deliberate effort to undermine it. I mean, even after all of this Greenland craziness, Trump tweeted out something that was like, oh, well, maybe we should invoke Article 5 of the NATO Charter to have all of our European allies come to the southern border. Which, of course, they would. Why would they? There's no invasion, as he claims there is. But to me, that reads as somebody like Stephen Miller and his administration is trying to break up NATO.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whatever they can do to push to get everybody else to be sick of it, essentially.
Right.
Which I think is such a cowardly way to do it, too.
So less cowardly is setting up your own board of peace.
Well, yes. I mean, do you want to talk about that?
I mean, I don't. You talk about it. Who's on it now? Canada's off.
Yeah, no,
So
Carney's out.
Right, Carney's out. So he sets up this new Board of Peace, which is going to rival NATO. And of course,
And not even
Putin-
NATO, the UN. It's his UN.
yeah, it's his
did
UN.
you look at the logo? It's like a gold-dipped version of the UN logo that just
Of course it
exclusively has
is.
North America. I think the first version of it didn't even have Greenland on it, which, like, you'd think somebody would have thought of that given everything he was saying this week. But whatever. I digress.
Oh, Michael. Okay, so then what else did we learn from Davos? I mean, all these. How many private jets went in this year? It seems like the number of private jets
I'm
go
sure a
up
couple,
every
like
year.
150 something, 200.
I think it's more than that.
Was it more than that?
Yeah.
Well, Bob was talking to us the other day about how it's so fascinating. Because I think, I for one, I personally think it's beneficial for us to have these relationships with Western allies in Europe and so on.
You
but
and
the fact,
a lot of us.
I hope I'm not alone in that. There are some benefits to that, but it's also, I mean, the global order, the economic order that Bob always loves to talk about. Gathering at Davos, a place that historically, we're not super keen on. This is a gathering of billionaires and political figures. This order hasn't really helped a lot of people, or it hasn't stopped inequality from getting worse. And Trump, in his own Trumpy way, as Bob was saying, maybe pulled off a populist win for his base, which is, I went to Davos and I told them screw you, basically, the
Yes.
billionaires and everybody else.
Which is so interesting because we talked about this last week, this faux populism that and it is lies. I mean, and this is something else Bob put in his Substack this week, which is like, these axioms around Trump, where if he's lying about one thing, to expect the exact opposite.
Yeah.
And if he's deflecting and saying fake news over there, you scratch the surface and you see what he's actually talking about.
Yeah.
And so there's so many examples of this. There's the Epstein files.
Oh my God. Oh, I forgot about those between all of these other things. Maybe there's some attempt to not make us think about it.
Well, so exactly.
Still unreleased, largely.
But you saw, so the Time Siena poll, let's get into that. I mean, this
my God.
poll comes out this week. His numbers are dropping, and he's like, threatening to sue add it to my lawsuit with the New York Times. This poll, it's always been terrible to me, comes out on Truth Social, and the numbers and the independents who are saying, not a big fan of what he's doing, not happy with what he's doing around ICE, not happy with the economic state of this country. Thank you very much.
Well, yeah, I mean, to put some specifics to that, I said the Emerson poll, which is a generic poll of independent voters, we're thinking about the midterm. So party versus party, Democrats versus Republicans.
Yep.
Democrats are at 50%, and Republicans are at 28%. That's a 22-point jump. Or rather, excuse me, not a jump, margin. But it is a jump. I think it was +9 or something a couple weeks ago.
Wait, but so at 22% of disapproval?
No, so this is 50% of Democrats, or excuse me, 50% of independent voters would prefer Democrats to 28% preferring Republicans in, a theoretical midterm, right? And that's potentially an outlier, but, the overall picture shows movement towards Democrats and approval of Democrats to, I won't necessarily say approval of Democrats, but preference for Democrats over the Republicans. And all of the gains that Trump has made Trump past tense made in 2024 with young people and people of color and all of these diverse communities that everybody was, ready to rewrite, the American political scene. It was like, oh, well, Trump has permanently altered the coalition. He's got all these working class voters. They're all U-turning. I think that's actually the Time Siena poll. Naomi, I don't know if you could pull this up for us, but they styled it as a U-turn.
Yeah. And Epstein was one of the top, if not the top thing people are still saying, we do not approve of how he's handling this. We are very worried about this. This is shady.
I would love to meet a voter who says, I love how Trump has been handling the Epstein files.
Exactly.
I just want to get into their brain and just figure out what is it specifically.
Right. I don't know if they'll love. I just think they're going to say, I mean, it is what it is. But, look at the stock market. Michael, look at the stock market.
I guess.
I mean, it's bad, but is it? I mean, come on, just go about your day. I think it's more that kind of thing, or not paying attention.
Yeah. And I mean, and to some degree, on the economy, something also Bob's speciality that we should talk about, right? Prices are still high. He has not flattened them. He has not lowered them, certainly. And I think there's a lot of people...
this was one of his campaign promises, right?
Exactly.
It was make America great again by not disentangling with people outside of our borders, allegedly.
Yeah. He's the peace president.
He's so peaceful. And then also affordability.
Yeah.
I mean, I am going to bring prices down, and prices are going up. And he sits and says they're not, and his Secretary of Ag sits and says, we're fine, everything's fine. You can get a cheap thing.
DHS is too busy making whole milk I don't know if any of you saw this, whole milk ad campaigns rather than running anything meaningful.
which are real.
It's like, let's bring back the milk mustache instead of worrying about, lowering
But
food
it's even
prices
more-
or
it
breaking
feels-
up ag monopolies.
and it feels even more kind of white supremacist and these, I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, I mean it's
The milk ad.
I think we don't have to delve too deeply into this,
No.
but again, most of the people running social media for the federal government, particularly on X, they are signaling to that base, which is unfortunately for us, a lot
Yeah.
of people who are white supremacists or have, white nationalist
Right.
views, and they love signaling to them.
How about the coat that what's his name is wearing in Minneapolis?
Oh, Bavino's
Yeah.
coat, the
Is it-
ice guy.
Yeah, but what's it called? A long coat? I think it's a
Yeah,
long coat, and it's
I saw-
reminiscent of previous wars and someone named Hitler.
Yeah, I think Newsom said it was a little SS-y or a little
Yeah.
Gestapo-y.
Yeah.
And it's funny. He was like, I got it in 1999 when I was a young
Oh,
officer.
so it's vintage.
So it's vintage. Maybe earlier than that. But I think you can clearly see when he's out and about, and I think people have noted this in Minneapolis as well. He's always surrounded by cameras. This is a guy, and this is not just him. I want to talk about Kash Patel for a digression, if you don't mind.
Fine.
Well, because Bavino's out there specifically to mug for the camera. And, I saw one video where he was just gleefully, smugly like, all right, you guys, you're protesting me. Time for gas, gas, gas. And then he throws this tear gas canister, really slowly, and, 4 different cameramen from the government are there. And it's just, you're so clearly doing this for social media, which is disgusting. Kash Patel, though,
Yes.
same deal. After events that happened earlier this year, I mean, really any high-profile thing, there's this piece that came out this week. It's apparently the big high-level FBI calls, where you typically have the director silent. This is what I think the New York Times or somebody was saying. They sit back and they let the subject matter experts talk. Patel is out there saying, what's our social media strategy? And it's okay, Dan Bongino, back when he was deputy, this is what you're going to tweet. Then I'm going to tweet this. Then the FBI office out of Utah or wherever, you're going to tweet this, and then we're going to retweet. And it's just, that's the call.
Social media management.
It's social media. It's not investigating crimes. It's not trying to bring anybody to justice. It's purely optics.
It's not strategic thinking about how to run the country, protect the country.
No, just how to
Socials.
get clicks for your base. And it seems throughout the government. That's the most important thing, which goes with what Trump, I mean, he's all optics a lot of the time, right? How can he look strong and big and powerful without doing anything meaningful?
So it's horrific, and it's, they're an abdication of their actual duties. I mean, honestly.
Yeah, I
they're
think most of
focusing
them
on
have
that.
to swear an oath
Right.
to us.
Yeah.
There are public servants, and it's amazing that they're using our tax money to film themselves throwing tear gas at us. I don't know. I mean, it's as simple as that to me.
But also, there's something to be said for how effective it is for people.
Yeah.
Right? Social media is in people's heads. It's where people get their news or their non-news, their anti-news,
Yeah.
their information, their misinformation.
And people are, people on the right are gleeful about it, and people on the left,
Yeah.
or people in the middle, many
Yeah.
I'm sure are intimidated and scared, right?
And how can you believe it's been a year since of Donald Trump? Is that right? Is it the year?
Yeah, it's about a year. He was sworn in January 20.
And so we're seeing the polls have changed.
Yeah.
For me, I'm curious for you, this is worse than I imagined, and I imagined it pretty bad. We made videos about Project 2025. We
Yeah.
said this is not good. Heritage Foundation is designing it all. There are people who have plans. Trump is going to listen to them. He's going to do his old tactics of doing whatever the hell he wants and acting on a whim and being bombastic and a narcissist. But this is way worse than
Yeah.
worse.
I mean, he's unconstrained. And Bob has said this many times, all of the adults in the room are gone. He realized if there were adults in the room, they would stop him, so he did not invite them back.
But also his dementia. I mean, confusing. He said Iceland instead of Greenland.
Oh, yeah. That was, the fact that he was rambling about invading another country and couldn't even get it right is, I don't know. I mean, it's an abdication of responsibility on the part of any elected Republican that he's still in office. And his cabinet, for that matter. 25th Amendment.
And the impulse control. I mean, one would want your person in a senior leadership position
Yeah.
to be able to have internal thoughts that you don't make external because you have impulse control and you are...
Talking about having a filter?
Yeah!
I don't know. That seems like a foreign concept to
But
this
really,
administration.
truly, it's not only there's a lack of filter, but it's just gone to an extreme. I mean, how about
Yeah.
when he got up in that one press conference the other day and looked out the window to see how his ballroom was doing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's par for the course funny golf course
I was
with
thinking
Trump.
the same.
Yeah. Or even he's so easily goaded too.
Right.
And not even goaded, just like when he's asked a question, when somebody was like, oh, Macron said he doesn't want to join your board of peace. And then Trump was immediately like, all right, well, we'll see how he likes 200% tariffs on his champagne. It's like, whoa, okay.
Also, can't do that.
Yeah, you have to tariff the whole European Union, which would be significant and blah. But I mean, that kind of nuance, it doesn't matter. It's just spur of the moment, instantaneous, angry all the time.
Angry, punishing, cruel.
Yeah.
So one thing that you've done, we've worked together for how many years? 6 years or
6
something.
years.
That's wild. It's such a pleasure to work with you, Michael.
Likewise.
But really,
and the rest of our team as well.
the rest of our team. But you are an exceptional. It's been terrific working with you. The reason that Robert Reich and Inequality Media and Inequality Media Civic Action got onto TikTok was because of you. Let's be very clear.
Yeah.
And so you said, let's try it. We got together. Bob said, what about these? I mean, then he would just start recording stuff. It was so great in the early days.
Back in 2020.
I know.
The golden age of TikTok when it was wonderful and everybody was still figuring it out. Yeah. Less good today.
Less good today, but also in the news because the ownership of TikTok
Yes, it is now passed to the U.S. version of TikTok, which is largely owned by this conglomerate of American venture capitalists and, tech people like Larry Ellison and Oracle. Oracle famously not very good at user experience, actually. That's for the people in the tech world. But, so it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I think the feeling is that there's going to be a change to the algorithm for the worse for people who want to express opinions about the current administration or just have left of center, maybe even center viewpoints. Who's to say?
Yeah.
But we'll have to see. That happened on the 22nd.
Right.
And it'll take a little time, I think, for those kinds of changes to be in effect. But, I mean, this is also years on. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago that they started talking about banning TikTok. And I'm fairly certain they also did ban TikTok, if I remember correctly. I think Congress even passed a law, and then Trump has let them sort of wriggle around it by allowing this joint ownership venture, which also benefits his political allies. So, I don't know. I'm a simple country bumpkin from Ohio.
Corruption
But
101.
Yeah, it seems to me like maybe it could have gone differently.
I know.
But yeah, young people will have to. I mean, we've all already distributed among the different vertical video platforms like Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts. So TikTok has not been, I think, a central gathering point in the way that it was in those early days when we first got Bob on for quite a while.
Yeah.
Sadly, I mean, it still has a lot of good stuff on it, and there's a lot of great creators. So hopefully,
Do you think between now and the next presidential election there will be a new platform? Right? I mean, you and I couldn't think up Threads and Blue Sky and all these things when we had a meeting 5 years ago.
I think
Be
I mean, the only
interesting.
trend I've seen is that if a large platform that has effectively monopoly control over a particular form of content gets scandalized in some way, that opens up a lane for competition, that something like that would happen. But it's hard to envision a different kind of content platform now. I mean, who knows? With AI-generated content, I mean, I think even the Sora app that Google has, you could technically just scroll through Sora videos your entire, all the livelong day if you really wanted
the
to.
brain would just
Yeah.
seep out of your ears.
And a lot of that stuff is already distributed out to
big
social
time.
media platform. Which is to say, viewers, please do be cautious if you haven't already figured this out. There's a lot of AI-generated content out there, and whether it's a fake Robert Reich, as we heard about on this show not too long ago, or fake stuff from the White House, I think you have to be really, really careful when you're sharing content and when you're even just viewing it yourself.
Yeah. Do you have any plans for the rest of your weekend?
Well, I'm flying to visit my family in Colombia. So I haven't seen them in a little while, and I'm excited to do that. My grandparents.
Later today?
I'm off later today, right after this, in fact. So
How old are your grandparents?
they're in their early 90s, so they've been around the block, and I'm very excited to see them. Though I will say, as somebody who has international family, I know you do too, this is a stressful time to travel. And I think that it's you want to think about now to a year ago, it's a very different time to a year ago. I mean, between then and now, Trump has personally threatened Colombia and its president several times. I think he got in a spat right at the beginning in February of 2025. And even just in the last month or two, Colombia joined the ranks of, I think it's like almost 100 countries now that you can't get permanent, they've halted new visa applications. Not for tourism, but for actually permanent residency.
Right.
Which impacts me in its own way. If I had family members who wanted to move here and wanted to make a life in the United States, they can't now.
Yeah.
And why? You know, there are a lot of arbitrary decisions being made by Marco Rubio's State Department via him and Donald Trump and
Stephen Miller.
And, you know, I mean, it's a little frightening. When you look at the map, too, of like where the visa application stuff has been halted, it's the global south, right? It's a lot of countries in Africa and now South America. And the countries that are notably not on the list, largely, by and large, are in the Northern Hemisphere.
Yep.
You can imagine why Stephen Miller would maybe want that.
Right.
Um,
So, and then I think for me for this weekend, I've been watching The American Revolution. Have other people seen this? Ken Burns. I've been making my 13-year-old watch it, encouraging him, inviting him to watch it. And he's like...
And he's been sitting down for all of the
he's like,
slow pans
"Ugh."
of Ken Burns like this.
Yeah, it's a
The
lot of
slow-
zooming in and out
on
of
like a nice
pictures.
Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, and paintings.
And painting. Well, the paintings are important.
But it's
Washington
it
and the
has,
Delaware.
Yes, it has. We've
That's
been
a
talking
classic.
about that. Our colleague Emily has a puzzle of that I want to borrow and have my 13-year-old do.
We should have it out here next week.
We should do it.
If
Let's
she
do
she
it.
finishes it by next week.
She
I don't want to
finished
pressure.
it.
Oh,
she
she's
was
done?
bragging. Yeah, she said
that's
she
good.
said it finished, so we'll
That's
ask her
good.
for it. But yeah, so watching that with my son is fascinating.
Yeah.
Because it seems so far away and what we're living through right now. I mean, you see Samuel Adams who's saying, you know, we got to remind everyone of their grievances to keep them engaged and
There was a famous list of grievances, I think about 250 years ago that is especially relevant to today. I don't know if anybody's heard of it. Declaration of something?
Declaration of Independence.
It was one of those.
I didn't know if you meant the 95 Theses because that is my kid is studying medieval Europe and the death of feudalism and the rise of a republic, and we're doing all these definitional studying, and it's mind-boggling.
How old is he now?
13.
Wow. I guess that's a good age to start learning about that.
I guess, yeah. Well, it has been such a pleasure catching up with you and just having a coffee. Miss Bob. Bob will be back next week. Thank you for tuning in, even though former Secretary of Labor Robert Reich, our colleague, is not here. So thank you for sticking with us. And we will, Michael, it's been such a pleasure.
Likewise.
We will see you all in a week.
Keep up the fight is what Bob would say.
Right.
And he says to us often. And we'll be here next week.
Yeah. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Keep it up.